I don't mind them being aggressive. I don't mind them thinking we have to get a first down. But now you go from the decision to try to get a first down to the plays themselves. And this is where I have some issues.
We'll start with this question from Robin.
So there's still a damn good defense.
I have zero problem with them bringing this guy in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris. I'm Mike Catalano. Solo today, Dan and Jenna, both with young veteran days off. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You know what this is. Every week we have You Ask, We Answer, presented by our friends at Stellar Roofing, Windows, Siding. Expect a stellar job every time. And oh boy, stellar job. That's not what the Bills have done the last couple of weeks. And I know your questions are getting more and more pointed about this team, about the roster, about the coaching staff. We're even going to talk a little bit about the opponent this week because as I'm recording this on Tuesday, you know what the Jets did on Tuesday with the firing of their coach. So we're going to start with the questions. We'll get to as many as possible. And I'm going to start with a good one. The thing everybody's talking about, it comes from Wolfgang8911. What can you say about Sean McDermott's late game coaching decisions? What is your level of happiness with Sean's decisions late in the game? He says, mine is low. Not great. Not great. He's had some moments. I didn't even like the one early in the year against Arizona with the field goal of death when they went up by 6. He is an aggressive coach. This was aggressive. No doubt about it. I will say this. I've read a few people. You know, everybody's a hot taker. It's one thing. Do you want to bury him? Even McDermott, an hour after the game, was like, I should have done something differently. But I see some people, the worst clock management in the history of the NFL, a little recency bias there. I'm going to tell you this. They needed a first down because that guy's a hell of a field goal kicker. You're pinned deep in your own territory. I know it's easier with a timeout. There is no question. The easiest thing, I shouldn't say easy. The simplest way to get that game to overtime is get a first down. So let's say that. I think the goal should have been to get a first down at the end of the game. And then I've seen things where people say, maybe you should have done a mix. Even McDermott said, maybe I should have run it on first down and then seen where they were. I kind of get the idea of that, but here's part of what I'm going to say to you. You run it on first, you run it on second. They use 2 timeouts. You got 3rd and 6, say, 3rd and 5. You throw it on third down, it's incomplete. So you've taken up maybe even less time than you took on those ill-advised passes. And they still have a timeout left. You could go the other way and say, make them use all 3 timeouts to run the ball. Hope you get a first. You know what I was thinking? What if you had 4th and half a yard? 4th and half a yard. I mean, tush push, brotherly shove. I know Josh was banged up. We're going to talk about that too. All these things come into play. I don't mind them being aggressive. I don't mind them thinking we have to get a first down. But now you go from the decision to try to get a first down to the plays themselves. And this is where I have some issues. And I think McDermott does too, but you're the head coach, so you got to take care of this. I think Joe's calls combined with what Josh Allen was doing were not high percentage plays. I mean, I could see on third down where you got to get it past the sticks, but the attempts that they took didn't take enough time to get you out of the mess, and they were really not even close to high percentage. I wanted to see something. I know, we don't think check down, but come on. You should be able to get something complete early. Quick pass, few yards, make them use the timeout. Now you're a little closer to getting the first down. They're standing at the sticks. So they're trying to defend that. What happened on the first play to Keon. Keon, honestly, got that penalty, but he's trying to prevent an interception on that play. So in terms of his overall late game decisions, I got to say that is not a strength of his game, and it has been costly. I will say in this case, I think some people think it's so simple. You run it 3 times, they use their timeouts, and they can't score. You give them the ball back with, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15 seconds. They get 2 shots at a quick out. And I know they don't have a timeout, but, Diggs or Dell or somebody on a quick out to get 3, 4, 5 yards and kick the field goal. I will say this. If he runs it 3 times, they do nothing, punt the ball, 1 quick play and a field goal, McDermott gets crushed for being too passive. You got Josh Allen. Let him try to get you first. But I think the way they approached it, the combination of, okay, we're going to throw, but then the calls that were made, and that's on Joe Brady, but it's ultimately all on Sean McDermott. Didn't like the play calls themselves. And Josh was banged up. We can talk about how banged up he was too, because there were a few questions about that. But no, I can see why people have a lot of questions about his late game decisions and the way he handles things. It's never been a strength. Sean McDermott has a lot of strengths on this team that people like to dismiss because you're so used to seeing the way this team competes and the way they play overall. But late game, micro decisions is not a strength of his or his coaching staff. So confidence level is on the low side. He's not getting fired yet, but on the low side. Let's continue with that. This comes from Caden Meyer. What are your thoughts on the coaching staff through 5 weeks? It's back-to-back weeks where the offense got off to a slow start. The defense got pushed around. The team seemed not to be prepared. I don't know about preparation. It is a combination of preparation and then execution in hostile environments. Both of these places were loud. You do have some different people in the different spots. They got to be better than this, though. They have to be. And the Baltimore game, 87 off the rip. And then in this game, in the second score, you give up that bomb for a touchdown. And that was, as everybody has known by now, the Cole Bishop miscommunication. He was in the wrong spot. Rasul Douglas thought he had help behind him. It didn't happen. You can't get down on the road to 2 good teams, 21-3 and 20-3 in the third quarter, and expect to do good things. That is on the coaching staff. Sometimes I think offensively, what is it that works? Maybe it is. Maybe sometimes you come out with tempo a little bit. I know they like to substitute, but something to get the offense going. Get Josh some easy completions. Get wide receivers into the game. And then defensively, honestly, I guess the defense has at least some excuses or reasons, like we say. No Von Miller, no Ed Oliver, no Taylor Rapp. They're already out with Milano, all those things. At least there is some of that. Not on the offense. No Khalil Shakir, and I know they miss him. And I think that kid is going to be a really good player as time goes on. But it's Khalil Shakir missing from the lineup. I think it's not necessarily that player. It's that player in relation to the rest of the offense that gets him into so much trouble. So you cannot start. And honestly, they started the Cardinals game poorly, but that's first game of the year. That may be just because of the first game of the year, but it's kind of, that's 3 out of 5 games with bad starts for both the offense and the defense. You survived the Arizona game. You did not at all in Baltimore. And then, obviously, you came back, which is good, a positive, and they did make some adjustments, and it did get better. Fine. But you couldn't find a way to win the game. So I've got Tony who says, please don't be company men and women and not report on the crappy job Beane did this offseason with the wide receivers. Tony, I'm going to forgive you because you obviously don't listen often to this channel because we've talked about this multiple times. And what I've said, and Dan has said, and Jenna has said, is Sean McDermott gets his level of criticism deserved for the things he does or does not do. And I'm a fan of Brandon Beane as a general manager who has righted the ship with this place, got Josh Allen in, has made some good moves. This was not a great offseason. Look at the free agent signings, right? You've got Curtis Samuel at wide receiver, nothing. MVS, nothing. Mac Hollins as my fifth guy, special teamer, blocker, catch a ball, fine. Not Mac Hollins on the field all the time. Mike Edwards at safety, nothing. So when you look at those moves, I like Smoot. I think Smoot's given them something on the D line. Besides that, not a lot. And I'm not even talking about the draft picks because we did see some pluses. I thought Carter looked pretty good. We saw what happened with Bishop. I do think he's going to get better. He's in that last line of defense too. So when he makes a mistake, it's 6 points, which is what happened. But if you sit there and think that we have not been critical of Brandon Beane for this wide receiver group, I thought they were better. I thought in the right setting with a lead and some rhythm, they looked pretty good. But we all said it's not sustainable long term. You're going to need guys to make plays. You're going to need the one when it's 3rd and 6. You're going to need to get down the field. The hope was maybe MVS could find himself. Mac Hollins was open down the field. It's hard to put percentages on that. Whatever the percentage was that Josh's throw was a little long, the blame meter is more on the quarterback only because you're throwing to Mac Hollins. So they haven't connected on deep balls. Everything is a struggle. Kincaid has been, I'll say, a disappointment. But to pretend like we haven't been critical of Beane in many ways and to be critical of Beane in terms of where the wide receivers are, and please don't ever call us company men. I mean, that's embarrassing to you to say that. Credit to us, embarrassing to you. We're not company men. When it's good, we'll tell you. When it's not good, we will tell you. Men and women, by the way. Obviously, we're talking about Jenna here. Okay, now we've got some other things about the offense. How about this one? This one comes from Michaels3617. When your franchise quarterback was clearly knocked out unconscious, maybe you give him a rest at the end of the game. He wasn't unconscious. The video, I mean, Mike, don't fall for some of this stuff. His legs were moving right after he hit. He took a hard hit, no question about it. Jenna is down on the field, sees him walk to, unlike some of these people that comment, we have either Dan or Jenna or myself for a part of the game or pregame and then postgame are down on the field around the players. Josh went in the tunnel, went in the tent the whole time. All he's saying is he's going to the thing. What's going on? What are we doing? What's happening when he's coming out? Very alert, look, did he take a hit? Did it bother him? Yes. He gets cleared by the NFL people, and we know there's been problems with that too. But save your conspiracy theories for something else. Allen did not have a concussion. He was not unconscious. He went out into the tent quickly, and people are like, he was right back on the field. There was a timeout, change of possession after the punt. They ran several plays, then had the turnover. Then Mitch went in and handed off on a play. By the way, Sean McDermott was asked why he didn't let Mitch stay in the game in the postgame. Not the postgame, on Monday. Seriously? Josh is healthy. If Josh is clear to play, Josh Allen's going in the game. Okay, so let's settle down with that. I mean, Sean answered it like a professional, but if you say, wasn't there a concern with Josh being banged up and could you leave Mitch in the game? Sure. And that's where you need the backup quarterback to at least be competent, that you feel like we're stuck here. We need him to make a play. He didn't really get a chance to. They handed off. That's all they ended up doing. But I would say in that case, if Josh Allen is running on the field, he is going to play. Ryan, 2914 says, the book is out. You shut down the middle. Josh throws some perfect passes and they get dropped. You need a number one. Cooper or Adams, make it happen. All right. Hey, look, either one of those guys is the number one receiver on the team. I like Amari Cooper a lot. I think he's underutilized in that terrible Cleveland team, and I think he would help the Bills. His contract is low. I don't think they're going to get a ton for him. Devontae Adams is a higher end player who certainly, again, would be the number one guy in Buffalo. As much as we like Shakir, I think Shakir could fit into that second role very well. And Keon had his moment in the game. It's been up and down, but at least he's had some moments. Now you're talking. Now you're talking when you say high tide rises all boats. I'm with you on that because I still believe, as good as I think Shakir can become, I still believe you need a more dynamic player, a number one wide receiver. We said that. I love Brian Thomas coming into this draft. He's doing pretty well so far. But I think Keon can be a good player. As far as shutting down the middle, yeah, Dalton Kincaid. I was saying last night, Jenna and I were flying back from Houston. And we were sitting there, watching the game, ready to get on the plane and to come back. And I said, if I was Dalton Kincaid, I think I would get, maybe in the offseason, I guess would be to do it. I would get cut-ups of like every route that Kelsey runs. Because it is absurd how that man gets open. I mean, Kincaid is right now more athletic than him and has some of those skills, his movements, his hands. I do think he can play at a higher level. It's comical. Like, I think Ross Tucker tweeted out, like, it's like you need somebody to investigate someday to look back on how this guy that everybody knows is going to get the ball is wide open. We haven't seen that from Kincaid. I do not expect him to be Kelsey, okay? But I do expect him to be better than he's been. Expectations got higher. You lost the gravity on the other side or on the outside or even in the slot sometimes. And the guy we just saw last week, he's gone. Not Gabe Davis as much. By the way, if you're watching ESPN or one of those places, and sometimes I wonder why you would watch the hot takers, and they start talking about the people the Bills have lost, and they mention Diggs, rightfully so, and they say Gabe Davis. I mean, settle down. Settle down. Okay? Gabe Davis is Gabe Davis, and that was with Stephon Diggs with him. Okay? Gabe is who he is. They act like you lost your 1 and 1A. You lost 1 and 4 at the wide receivers, but not 4 on the Bills, unfortunately, but that's what he was. And I feel like I'm taking shots at Gabe. It's not. Good for him. I'm saying that sometimes when you see these people say they lost one guy that was impactful. Maybe not as good as he thinks he is, but certainly impactful. A guy they could use now, right? But there's a reason they moved on from him. And then drop balls, like Kincaid got that one. Those are strange because I never saw the correct replay or a replay that would have said he held on to it. I will say this. If you're Kincaid, man, at least fake it a little bit when you think you made a catch. If you think you made it, you gotta be looking to the bench like, drop the flag. I caught that. He just got up and ran back like it was no big deal. So McDermott's got it. You have to be getting a call from upstairs. There was no quick replay, and there's no way to challenge that, or you could challenge it right away and just hope that it goes through. But I don't believe Kincaid felt like he caught the ball, so they didn't challenge it. But he's not getting open over the middle. You saw what happened when Josh threw back. I have no idea what they're doing with Curtis Samuel. I'm not saying he's like checked out, but I think he looks a little lost. I thought this week, because he would play more in the slot, they could get him doing something. They use him on those little, everybody says screen passes. I guess they're screen passes. They're basically blitz beaters. When you come with the pressure, boom, get it out quick. It's almost a version of a run. Almost every time the ball gets somewhere near Curtis Samuel this year, something bad happens. He's got no yardage at all. The runs have been nothing. The one trick play was a disaster. So None of that has gone well. Back to what you talk about with Beane in the offseason. That has not worked. Yes, they need a number one. I think we believe that. I also think that I think we said even when they drafted Coleman, I didn't think he projected to a one. Doesn't mean he can't, but I still think they're going to be in the market, whether it's now or whether it is in the draft again or free agency or whatever comes up. They need speed is what they need. And I know Worthy made another play. It's a different kind of player, though. Just seems to work in Kansas City because he's more of a bit player, but I do like that speed. I do like the speed. I think it makes a difference for you. All right. Here we go. Jack B 8598. It's not Bills related, but do you think the Jets' struggles were more Robert Saleh or Aaron Rodgers, or will time tell? I don't think that Saleh was a good coach at all. I don't think he had a real sense of his team. Last year was so weird with the whole Zach Wilson thing when he was out there and they wouldn't make a move. You know, when Rodgers got hurt, his relationship with Rodgers is weird, but Rodgers is Rodgers. Here's what they're doing. They've got Rodgers for this year, right? I think that deal, well, we'll see how much. I'm not even sure how that is going forward. I know they changed around his contract, I think, a little bit. Regardless, they want to see what they can get out of this year with Rodgers. And it wasn't happening with this guy. They did not appear to jive at all. The two of them was just like a weird vibe. I think they're thinking, do it now, get him out of the building, see if that helps Rodgers, and they can get going as a team. I know Saleh's a defensive coach, but he's the head coach. And there's supposed to be some relationship with the quarterback. I think basically they're going to just let it be Rodgers' team the rest of the year. That would be my guess, and not have any impediment like a head coach there. He still has his coordinator. But I think it doesn't surprise me. What was he, 20-36 as the coach? He did not come across like a leader. So that's my take on it. And then it goes into Casey Shaw's question. How does the Jets' firing of Saleh affect this week's game? Normally you fire a head coach pregame, it fires him up. I think there is something to that. I think it's like you fired the coach and every player and even the coaches want to be able to say, see, it was that guy. That was the problem. We were fine. I'm doing my job. It was that guy's fault. That doesn't even mean like they personally feel that way, but it does put people on alert a little bit. Oh, they fired the head coach. So now fingers are going to get pointed at everybody else unless you play well. So honestly, don't love it for this week. Don't love it for the Bills because I would have liked to have seen Saleh still be there. The Bills come in and he gets fired after the game on Monday, but that's not what they ended up doing. So I think it's somewhat of a boost for the Jets. I don't think he was. I've talked to some people with the Jets. I don't think Saleh was disliked, but I don't think there's people in that room crying because he's gone. I think they'll just say, okay, now let's see what we can do. So this team's had a lot going on. Maybe this pulls the plug on some of that pressure, and maybe Rodgers plays better. I don't know. They're doing whatever Rodgers wants, and they're going to see if they can make it work. And from, I think it was It's Not Us, maybe, was the name. How's the 3 of 10 panic meter saying to me? Because I said 3 after the Baltimore game. I think Dan said 3. We were right around 3. Panic meter, panic is about 4 because I picked the Bills to be a 10-7 team. I still think they can get there, 10-7. I picked them to win the division. I still think they can get there. This game coming up is big. I'm not panicked at all about the defense. I think when you get the players back, this defense will be good. They played better as it went along, not good enough early. You can see what happens. We've been spoiled by safety play for a long time. It's tough. Rapp was out. We'll see if he's back. You know, DeMar is DeMar. And then you got Bishop out there. So DeMar's really a backup. Bishop's a rookie. They picked on that group. There's no doubt about it, and they did. But I'm not in panic meter because I think the defense will be good. I think they will find ways. I think, are they an elite team now? Nope. I think what's holding them back is going to be the offense, and it's going to be the passing game. So either some things have to change, some players have to find their roles, exceed what they've been doing, or they make a move. And like I said, it's not my money. It's not my draft picks. Would you make a move? They might. They might do that. I know, this is a transition year and all those things. And I watch the Chiefs win. The Chiefs are good. They're the Chiefs. At the moment, they're not some unbeatable juggernaut. I mean, I say they're not unbeatable. They've won, I think, 11 games in a row, and including the playoffs, and they're 5-0 this year. But, the games are competitive. The other teams have had chances. They just know how to win, especially in close games. So I think that's a little different. But I'm worried about the offense. I'm just worried about them putting up enough points. And Josh has been taking a beating. He's not going to last if he keeps taking these hits. And it's funny how people will always say when he's running. That's not when he's taking the hits. He hurt his hand, hurdling somebody. But he's taken some hits in the pocket when he's tried to run to the outside and throw the ball away and still take a hit. He's done that. By the way, one last thing I just want to mention before I go. I was in Houston. The game was what it was. I saw Diggs a lot before the game. He was being Diggs. He was playing catch with the fans like he does, all those things. The whole thing of he and Josh never meeting up beforehand, the timing didn't seem to work. One was out there, one wasn't. I don't think that was intentional. The quick handshake was, I said it wasn't quite Belichick and McDermott after that one game, but it wasn't also hug it out. I missed you, buddy. They are what they are. They shook hands. Fine. The end of the game. I thought Diggs was a little much after the game. I mean, he won. They won the game. He had a good game. They won. But my guys knew what this meant to me and all. And settle down. You won the game. You made some nice plays. It's one game. You really go to your teammates like, this means so much to me. He wanted out of Buffalo. That's fine. He's a really good player. That's fine. Act like you got kicked to the curb. Whatever the reason is, it just was a lot of, I thought he would be more like, I got the win. And Jenna says to me, what did you expect? I expected him to maybe not be so it meant so much to me. It's game 5. Okay, you beat the Bills. Congratulations. You might play them again in the playoffs. Maybe the Bills are healthier at that time. We'll see. But regardless, congratulations to Diggs. He got a win, and he was able to have the moment over the Bills. We'll see. Win the battle. Let's see if you win the war and see how it goes. All right. That's going to do it for me right now. We are going to speak with Janae Coakley, who covers the Jets for SNY. We were scheduled to do something on Tuesday, and then she texted me back, and she's like, oh, boy, can't do it today. We just fired the Jets just fired Robert Saleh, so we're going to work on doing that. We'll be at practice on Wednesday. We got our live podcast on Thursday. All those things coming up for you. It's 3-2, and it's a massive game on Monday. You guys know it. We know it. Bills win, and it calms everything down. You're 4-2, 2-0 in the division. You push the Jets down. The Bills are in great shape. You lose, and it's going in the wrong direction. So we'll see what happens as we get to Monday. All right, that's going to do it for me right here for our entire team, Jenna Cottrell and Dan Fates. And for our sponsor, Stella Roofing, Windows, and Siding. You always get a stellar job from them. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for supporting the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.
We'll start with this question from Robin.
So there's still a damn good defense.
I have zero problem with them bringing this guy in.